if I have to summarize what I just told you in like one sentence, safety physician is working on the whole drug development process on that single drug. So he has to do medical review, which is again subset of causality assessment. I mean, which is having causality assessment as a subset. So he has to do, or he or she has to do medical review. They have to do signal management, they have to do risk management, they have to do aggregate reporting, they have to be in regulatory submissions. So there are many more tasks that a safety physician would do as a lead physician. So that is a completely different topic. I mean, completely different title. When you apply for a medical reviewer, you don't need to be a physician. You can have whatever education you have, and you can still do medical review, which includes causality assessment and all the other tasks that I just told you. And when you apply for a case processing role, you are bound to do causality assessment in most companies right now. So these are the three levels that I want you to kind of make sure you understand. And again, it will help you when you apply for jobs, when you're looking at job titles. Don't get bogged if you see medical reviewer. You can apply for it. It's not like you should not. You should apply for it. But if you're not a physician, if you're not a dentist, don't apply for a safety physician role, because it doesn't make sense. They're not going to accept your application based on your education itself. So that's pretty much what I wanted to convey. So from a interview standpoint, the three things that I want you to get out of this webinar, out of this class or a module, is what is causality assessment, number one. How do you do causality assessment? That is the most important question in the interview, and that's a very frequently asked question, because as I said, you are going to do it no matter what. Second thing, what are the common scales of causality assessment? And the third question is, what are, I mean, I would say, like, in I would not say third question, but let us say subset of second question is, when you name some causality assessment scales, they might ask you to say, how do you make it related by WHO causality scale, which we're going to discuss. Because you're going to use that so much, they want you to make sure you can relate to, you can kind of summarize the 6 bullet points that I'm going to share with you right now, that goes into relatedness of WHO causality scale. So these are the three questions. How do you do causality assessment? What are the scales of causality assessment? How do you determine relatedness by WHO causality scale, which is frequently used? So these are the three questions from an interview standpoint from this. I kind of mentioned this. This is also, I believe you should remember this picture from the enrollment webinar. How many of you do that? You do, right? So as I said, what do you do in medical review is here. This is a workflow state. The case is processed this way, and once it comes to here or this part of review, you do medical review. Included in this medical review is causality assessment. But as a safety physician, you're doing, overseeing all cases being reported, you're doing data analysis, you're doing signal management, you're doing risk management. That's safety physician role. Now that being said, how do you do causality assessment? I will do causality assessment, or I will assess a case. I will assess the causality of the adverse event by previous documentation. This is a very practical approach. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand this. You don't need all the scales and everything that we are going to talk about. You just need to understand from a common sense. Now, I'll kind of give you an example for you to understand this better. Let's say the same example, the patient or the subject went to the emergency room with chest pain, diagnosed with myocardial infarction or heart attack, and they reported this case to you. Now once they reported the case to you, the adverse event that was reported to you is heart attack, myocardial infarction. Myocardial infarction is the medical diagnosis. In layman terms, we call it as heart attack. So let us say the adverse event is heart attack. Now, once you see this preferred term or this case that has the adverse event of heart attack, first of all, how do you do causality assessment is, you got to know previously in the past, do we have any cases that have the same adverse event of myocardial infarction, and what was the relationship of the adverse event with the drug? Did the drug actually cause the adverse event in those cases? Are there any confounding factors? That's number one. Number two,